Hello everyone, thank you for joining me, and as people join, just welcome, join in, and thank you so much for being with me today. Let me introduce myself. My name is Denise Allen. I'm an artist based in Norfolk in the east coast of the UK, and I've been working with Pebeo for a long time. I think they're an absolutely fantastic company, and I think the products are amazing. The amount of pigment that they put into their paints is fantastic, and the quality of them is amazing. So I'm very, very happy to be joining you today to show you a way of using the Pebeo pouring experiences paint. Now this is pre-mixed pouring paint. You don't have to do anything to it. I am going to mix a bit of silicone oil into one of my colours at least, and you know, I'll just show you what I'm going to do. But for those of you who are new to Pebeo, it is a French company. They've been going for just over 100 years. It's a family-run company, and they really care about the quality of the product. So, you know, which is one of the reasons as an artist I'm very happy to use them. So what I'm going to do today, you may have just seen my Flamingo that I had down there. I'm going to show you how I created that. And it's a silhouette pour, and this is something that you can do. I've done this with a drawing, which I will show you in just a moment, but you could take a photograph of your cat or your dog. Let me show you here. This is a painting that I did of my cat, and I just printed out the photograph, cut it out and drew around it, and did the pour, which is what I'm going to show you how I do. But there's no reason why you couldn't do this with your grandma, you couldn't do this with your daughter doing her ballet class, or your son, or, you know, anything like that. I think it just works really well. It makes a very interesting painting to do it as a pour. So I'm going to waste no more time chatting away. I'm sure you want to see the painting and not me. So I'm going to turn you around again. Bear with me whilst I turn you around. Please don't get seasick. And I'll take you through the process. So here we go. Of course it's being awkward. Just bring you back a little bit. Let me just tell you a little bit about what I'm working on here. The boards I'm working on are the canvas canvas panels, the Pebeo's canvas panels. They're good and sturdy. They come in all sorts of different sizes. This one I'm using here today is a 40 by 40, all pre-primed. So you know, we don't need to do anything to them. They're just all ready to go. And this is, like I say, this is the one that I've done to show you what we're doing, and it's amazing amount of interest in there as we get going. So you can see all the little cells that we've got going. Colours are fantastic, and how perfect is that for the Flamingo? So I'm just going to put that to the side for a moment, and I've got my blank panel here. Now I've got gloves on today, pure and simply because I've got some paper cuts on my hands. You don't need to, it's an acrylic paint, so if you're comfortable having acrylic paint on your hands, that's absolutely fine. But because I've got a couple of paper cuts on my hand, I've just put the gloves on. Or if you're not keen on getting messy, then that's a good idea. Now the colours I'm going to be using, I've got this red one, which is just called red. I've got this one, which is called magenta. Really rich and lovely colour. Now this one is a metallic violet, so this one on its own has already got a little bit of sparkle in it, a little bit of glisten to it, as has this one, which is the silver. I do make a lot of mess with my paints. All this mess that's on here at the minute, I did when I put pouring painting onto a potter's wheel to see what happened, and it made quite a lot of mess, but it was good fun. And then we've got the white as well. So those are the colours that I'm going to be using today. The extra things that I'm going to need, I've got my pouring cup. I'm going to use a little bit of silicone oil in a couple of colours, and so I've got here, I've got a couple of shot glasses, as you can see, well used shot glasses, and I'm going to mix my oil into the paint in those. I've got a stirrer that I'm going to use for that, my pencil. Yeah, I think that's about all I've got. The other thing, I do have some plastic down on my work surface. Now you can see, for those of you who can see my work surface, it doesn't need the plastic on there to protect the work surface, but what it does, and we shouldn't get any today, but if you have any runoff from your Pebeo pouring, if you do it on a plastic surface, you can peel them off. So I peel them off, punch bits out of them, and then I make these bits of jewellery out of the skins. That's what they're called when they land on your plastics. It's called a skin. So that's what I do with those. So let me move that out of the way. Right. So here I have what I'm going to be doing today, and this is my flamingo. Now what I did here is I just literally drew it out on a piece of cartridge paper and I cut it out. I'm quite happy doing freehand, but like I said, when I came to doing this one of my cat, I just printed a photograph with a cat and cut it out. So I think that would work really, really well. So that's it's a very easy way of working. Now the thing you have to do is decide where on your board you're going to put it. Do you put it central? You could have it diagonally and then have the whole picture on a diagonal or as a diamond on your wall. Personally, I quite like just the straightforward putting this down. Now I'm going to try and just move the camera a little bit, bear with me. That's it, hopefully you can see. I'm not sure if that's improved it, but just trying to make it so you can see what I'm doing a little better. If you have any questions at any point, please just pop them on the chat and I will do my best to answer them, but thank you for those that are all with me here. So I'm going to start off just by drawing the outline of my flamingo. It's as simple as that. You don't need to be able to draw hugely if you've got your outline shape. Just a normal pencil straight onto the board. Just taking my time, just doing it slowly. This bit is fun because it's quite thin, this standing leg. Now the only thing I will do is make sure that standing leg is more or less flat, otherwise my flamingo will fall over. And who needs a fallen over flamingo? You can secure this down with a bit of tape if you wish to. I'm just holding it down because I'm too lazy to do that, but if you need a bit of tape or something, just hold it down whilst you draw around it, that's fine as well. Also, I know some people quite like using trace down papers, so if you are a fan of trace down papers, please feel free to do the outline that way. So I'm nearly there. Okay, I think I've got the whole of that outline down, so now I'll move the reference, which is not easy when you've got gloves on. Okay, so I just want to put that line in. I may do something with that with the black, I'm not sure. I've just smudged my pencil there, but once this is all finished and dried off, I can rub that out, that's not a problem. So let me just bring that up to show you my outline. There we go, so that's the outline ready to go. So now I'm going to get my paints ready that I'm going to put the silicone oil in. Now I'm standing them on here, which should be okay, specifically as I'm putting it inside there, so if I get any drips it should go into my area that I want painted. So I'm putting a little bit of this lovely magenta. I like this colour, I'm going to put a bit more in. And I'm going to do another cup with, what other colour shall I do with this one? I'm going to do this with some of the white. I've got the white there. I've got about half a cup in each of those with my, so you can see it's about half a cup in each one. Now the silicone oil comes with a pipette which makes it very easy to use and easy to control. So I'm going to put just 3 or 4 little squeezes into there. Get that out of the way. And because I'm mixing this in with other colours as a pour, I am going to give it a little bit of a stir. Not masses, but a little bit of a stir. So I've just cleaned my stirrer up and I'll put a little bit of a stir in this one. Generally speaking, the more you stir, the smaller the oil becomes. It gets more distributed within the paint, so you get more little cells. So, okay, how are we doing? Now I'm going to put my cup in the middle there, and this is where I'm going to mix the paints that I'm going to pour in. So it's a bit like a tree ring pour or a flip cup dirty pour type pour. So I need to mix my colours into here in layers. But we're just going to try and control where they go. Now the only other thing that I've got here is I've got a little bit of black paint that I've got ready here, and I'm going to use that in the beak. So let me start a little bit of a normal white, not my white with the oil in, just to give me a start. So hopefully you can see this. So I'm putting my silver in there. And now I'm going to put some of my magenta. This has got the oil in it. And then some of this violet. Now I'm a bit of a devil. I don't always work out exactly how much I need, but I'm quite happy to mix up a second amount if I don't have enough. But I think we'll be alright. Now I'm putting some of the white in that's got the oil in it. Let's have a bit more of that silver. Let's come back to our magenta with the oil in it. Go. A bit more of my violet, and then I'll finish off with the rest of the white with the oil in it. There's my stirrer. Now they make some great sets with these as a starter kit, but I have to say I do love the individual colours. You get to choose what colours you want to work with. So this is my mix. There we go. I think you can see I'm not stirring or mixing that at all, so I'm just putting this in the cup as is. Are we ready? Now I'm going to do this left-handed because it hopefully means that you can see better. I'm not left-handed. This could be fun. I'm just swirling this around. Just leaving that for a minute. Now the narrow bits I'm afraid I'm going to have to do right-handed, but I'll do my best that you can see what I'm doing. already some lovely cells and spots and popping going on. Now this is the worst one. I'm afraid I have to do this so I can see it. Straight down that leg. Oh, I've got a couple of spots gone. Okay, so I think we've got enough on there for now. Now these little spots that I've got, there's a couple of things that you can do with that. I can either just wipe those off and then paint over with them with a gesso afterwards. I've got an idea of something I can do with that. So I'm taking my stirrer, this could be a cocktail stick or a barbecue skewer, and I'm just carefully pushing this up to where my pencil lines were. What you don't want to do is move things too much, because you end up mixing the paint together, and I want to keep them as separate as I can. And then you get all these fabulous cells. So here I'm just going to pull this down to the point of the tail. And this is the leg that he's got in the air. There we go. I quite like that that's ended up a different colour from the rest. It makes it look separate. So let's have a little look at the back. Don't need to push much, it's kind of pulled itself fairly well to the shape that I wanted it to be. So I'm just doing this very delicate little bit round the neck. So I'm trying very hard not to move too much, and I need a tiny little bit more around the head. I know this is going to be hard to see, but I need to do it this way to have the control. There we go. So just poured another tiny little bit there, and that brings me back up to here. So I think we've more or less got our flamingo in there. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to find a little empty cup, and I'm going to put a bit of my colour mix in there, just a little bit, along with some of my black that I had. So I've got this black and pink mix. I'm going to put that in to the beak. Just shape that out there. You get this line that comes back through to the eye. That's worked pretty well. And the other thing I'm going to do with this is just take this on my stick. I just want to draw some of this black through to put that leg in the background. A little bit down here on the foot. There we go. Just going to bring this down a little bit so hopefully you can see some of the details there. And I'm going to do one more little bit. Let's bring that back out. Again, this bit is not essential, it's something I quite like doing. I'm going to just put a little flame over it with my torch. So I've just got a blowtorch here. And just very lightly, very quickly go over that. And what that does, if I can bring you in a little bit, does is opens up some of the small cells that you can see there in the neck. I hope you can see that. And that just opens those out, which looks really good fun. Let me stand you back up again. There we go. It's giving me some interesting textures there. There's lots of lovely little cells going on. And what I'll do is I will put up a photograph once this is dried off tomorrow of what the details look like. Now the thing with this paint, because you've poured it, it's of a consistency and of a thickness that it takes 24 to 36 hours to dry. It depends on your room conditions, how warm things are, how thick you've poured. So yeah, it's going to take a little while to dry. Now I quite like these little spots that are down here, and I've got a bit of paint left over. So let me move that up a little bit. Hopefully you can see that base there. I think I'm just going to put something down here as to where this one is standing. So I'm going to come along. Ooh, it's slowly coming out. Just putting that down there. And the other thing I want to do, because I've already got some spots, I'm just going to put some paint onto my fingers. Just put a little bit of that down. I'm just going to clean the hands off a minute. I do like making a mess. Right, I'm going to come in with my stirrer. Let's torch that a little bit. Lots of little bubbles popping out there. My black in my pot, so I'm just pouring a little bit more out because I want to make sure that foot is just about visible. I might have to come back in and do this, reiterate this foot once it's dried off. We'll see how that dries. I quite like that that messiness at the base there. I think it's quite good fun. But each to their own. So bear with me, and I'm going to turn you around again. Oops. Ooh, just dropped my phone. Bear with me. Aha, sorry. I don't know where I disappeared to there, but I did disappear. So thank you for joining me. I hope that's given you an idea of a way to play with your Pebeo pouring mediums. I think the colours are just amazing. I really love the way that they split and pop and crackle and all sorts of things like that. So I think it's just a really fun way of doing it. And thank you, Sarah. Hello. And I know how fun and fascinating acrylic pouring can be, but I also know how difficult it can be to get the recipe right. So what Pebeo have done here, they've put everything together it's all done. All you need to do is choose your colours and decide whether you want to put any of the silicone oil into it. The rest of it is just straight out of the pot, and it is incredibly easy to use. So I hope you have some fun with that, and thank you for joining me, and I will see you the next time. I'm Bin Denise Allen. Thank you.